Hello, Morongo Basin, and listeners around the world online at Z107.7fm.com. Here is the Z107.7 local news for Wednesday, June 24th, 2026. The suspect accused of shooting 2 people and kidnapping a third will be arraigned today on charges of murder, attempted murder, and kidnapping. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department says that on Thursday at around 8:30 p.m., Briston Benales, a 30-year-old resident of 29 Palms, shot 2 people in the area of Lupine Avenue in 29 Palms. A property owner told Z107.7 that Benales dropped the gun and fled into the open desert. The property owner said that one victim called 911 and was flown to Desert Regional Medical Center for treatment for gunshot wounds. The Sheriff's Department says he is expected to survive. The following day, just before 1 p.m., another victim called 911. This victim told deputies he had been kidnapped by Benales but managed to escape. As part of their investigation, the Sheriff's Department found a third victim who they said had been shot by Benales. The third victim was pronounced dead at the scene. From suspected gunshot wounds, he was identified as Robert Murphy, a 62-year-old resident of 29 Palms. Benales was located in the 6300 block of Cahuilla Avenue and taken into custody. Briston Benales is set to be arraigned in San Bernardino County Superior Court today on 5 felony charges, including murder, attempted murder, assault, kidnapping, and shooting at an inhabited dwelling. He is facing 12 enhancements for using a firearm. Joshua Tree National Park will temporarily close public access to the Covington Flats area to prevent human-caused wildfires over Independence Day weekend. National Park officials announced the closure yesterday, saying that in the past 5 years, the national park has experienced 5 wildfires caused by humans. The closure will be from Thursday, July 2nd to Monday, July 6th. Officials say the closure is intended to protect one of the park's most important Joshua Tree refuge areas during a period of elevated fire danger. They said that current conditions present a heightened wildfire risk. Recent winter and spring precipitation produced abundant annual grasses that have since dried, creating a continuous bed of fine fuels capable of carrying fire rapidly across the landscape. Park staff says their most recent blaze, the Eureka Fire, burned 214 acres in the Covington Flats area in May of 2025. Following an investigation, it was determined to be human-caused. For the full closure dates and ways that you can help prevent wildfires in the national park, see this story at Z107.7fm.com. 29 Palms is looking for ways to increase revenue for their general fund, and a proposed ballot measure for November may put the decision into the hands of residents. Online news editor Robert Hayden has more.
City Manager Kevin Cole wanted to clarify a few things at last night's 29 Palms City Council meeting. At the June 9th meeting, the idea of putting a 1% sales tax increase on the November ballot was discussed, as was feedback from the 682 registered voters that responded to the city's outreach on the possible measure. In short, a 1% sales tax increase would bring the city's rate up to 8.75%, matching not only Yucca Valley's sales tax rate, but also other cities in San Bernardino County like Barstow, Apple Valley, Yucaipa, and Victorville. There's only a few counties in California that have cities with a sales tax rate below 8%, according to the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration. The response from residents who completed a survey on the proposed ballot cited public safety as a priority concern, along with road maintenance, flood control, animal shelter repairs, and other projects that require funding in a city that's reporting flat revenue. The 1% increase would bring in an estimated $2 million a year, according to a fact sheet released by the city. That would go straight into the city's general fund. But before opening the floor to council member comments, the city manager wanted to make sure to clear up any confusion.
And I just want the public to understand that the council is putting this on the ballot for the voter to decide whether this is something that is good for 29 Palms. I think it's important to note that the council isn't imposing this potential tax. The citizens will vote on that.
Some reactions on social media seem to assume that the tax was already a sure thing, or that the council members would be the ones deciding on the increase. But with that cleared up, Cole went to council members for their comments. Mayor Daniel Mintz spoke to the possibility of more bike paths, referencing the Channel Trails pedestrian path, which was made possible with grants. However, grants often require the city ponying up some of that cash.
But we have to put up some money to get these grants sometimes. So it's just not free money all the time. Sometimes most of it is, but 90% of the time we have to put in a percentage of the project.
Mayor Pro Tem Octavius Scott says he's heard constituents' concerns about a possible 1% sales tax increase on the ballot.
But a lot of the visitors that come to this city, they're also going to be paying into that tax. They're driving on our roads, and they stop at the gas station, they grab some food, they get some gas, and I think that's important.
Whatever passion-fueled online discourse didn't make it down to the city council meeting, however. Only 2 residents spoke up on the issue. First was Mary Alice, who says she's okay with the possible increase. She also wanted to know exactly what would be taxed if the measure passed. Cole said it would apply to just about everything except groceries and medication. Councilmember April Ramirez also added clarification that the word approximately is used because a visitor-based economy can have large fluctuations in revenue. Mayor Mintz says that July 14th is the date when the City Council will vote on the resolution on whether or not to put the tax increase onto the ballot. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Robert Hayden.
The Yucca Valley Planning Commission approved the reversion of a subdivision back to a single 9-acre property and provided updates on new businesses in town at their Tuesday night meeting. The owners of a 9-acre, 18-lot subdivision on Yucca Trail and Emerson Avenue requested that the property revert back to a single property. That property was divided in 2005 on the premise that each lot would be developed or sold off. At that time, the subdivision was approved with the condition that associated bonds were instituted to ensure that the new lots were appropriately developed. Rather than extend the bonds, the property owner asked that the subdivision revert back to the original single property. The reversion was described by the Planning Commission as a routine approval, but commissioners used the request to discuss larger issues facing the town. Commissioner Clint Stoker expressed regret that the development would not move forward.
This is a bummer. It costs more and more to build anything. It costs a lot more for us to do any sort of grading with our current Joshua Tree issue we're in. And I think all of those things are a factor when you're looking as to whether you want to re-up a bond for a number more years and kind of have to put up or shut up. Do I hope that someday these get built out to be homes? I think that would be good. And it would actually probably only enhance your neighborhood.
Commissioner Alejandro Vasconcelos urged members of the public to learn more about agenda items.
I just want to kind of make a public comment about a lot of misinformation that gets spread around social media these days, especially recently. I really wish the public would really research the topics that they're bringing up rather than just acting on hearsay and what other people say. Yeah. It's damaging to the community because it uproars them and rebel rouses them into misinformation. I can't tell you how many calls I got over this reversion to acreage, which is really what it was, and amongst other items. So I really would urge the public to really look into fact-checking information before they start making comments on it.
A mural proposed for the exterior wall on the east-facing side of High Desert Artist Gallery was approved by the Planning Commission. The proposed mural, entitled Where Time Rests in Stone, will depict bighorn sheep, desert rocks, a western Joshua Tree, and historical elements. It will be painted by local artist Victoria Roethlisberg. High Desert Artist Gallery is located at 55635 29 Palms Highway. The Planning Commission received an update on current developments throughout the town of Yucca Valley. A new development, described by town staff as a Maverick fueling station, is in the early pre-permitting phases. Town staff said that Starbucks West is moving along, though development is slow. A drive-thru proposed for the Jersey Mike's and Domino's has been converted back into parking spaces. Dutch Brothers is currently working with the State Fish and Wildlife Commission. 2 local conservation groups are gathering tonight for drinks and discussion about our public lands, and you are invited. Online news editor Robert Hayden rejoins us with the scoop.
The Mojave Desert Land Trust and National Parks Conservation Association are holding a public lands happy hour tonight at Mas o Menos here in Joshua Tree. If you're wondering what's going on with the copious amounts of public lands that surround the Morongo Basin, the free event will help shed some light and answer questions regarding threats to our California desert. The MDLT have been holding advocacy workshops to get more folks informed on how to participate in protecting public lands, and the NPCA will also be on hand to answer questions regarding activities in our national parks and preserves. Z107.7 is also releasing an interview with NPCA Desert Director Chance Wilcox and Desert Program Manager Mason Osgood on mining activities near the entrance to Joshua Tree National Park in 29 Palms. An Australian mining company has staked claims in the Pinto Mountain region, also known as Music Valley. Similar mining activity from the same company at the Coliseum mine in the Mojave National Preserve has been devastating to the previously protected wilderness area. Here's Chance Osgood from that interview.
Especially frightening is it's not only next to Joshua Tree National Park. The main access road to Music Valley goes through a neighborhood in 29 Palms. The access road also crosses into Joshua Tree National Park land. So there's a whole complexity of issues that it could create. You know, this road goes into, right now, total backcountry and then gets right up next to a wilderness area. If you kind of draw the connection with what's happening at Coliseum, you can start to see that, we're taking this issue seriously.
The Public Lands Happy Hour is taking place from 6:30 to 8:30 tonight at Maso Meadows, and you can find a flyer at this story on our website, and we'll also be releasing that interview as a new podcast today at noon. You can find both at Z107.7fm.com. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Robert Hayden.
And finally, local artist Jillian Sandell invites the community to visit her residency art studio at Nosa Toros in Yucca Valley tomorrow afternoon. Sandell is a Joshua Tree-based artist and zine maker. She says everyone is welcome to her open studio event. It's happening from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow at Nosa Toros, located at 7021 Airway Avenue in Yucca Valley. That's our local news. Hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, the award-winning Z107.7 Local News, I'm News Director Jeff Harmatz.